the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. And life sucks all of the time, so stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of The Crazy Life. I'm Brian. Joining me as always, Henno.
Hello.
Hello, New York. Or whoever.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Oh,
Glad to be back.
yeah.
Glad
definitely.
to be back.
Glad
Good
to
to
be
see y'all.
glad to be inside.
Actually,
man.
I am glad to be back.
I don't know. Are you guys getting any of the
Yep.
the smoke and stuff from those fires?
No, that's all coming to you.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was on this end of the country. I did see earlier today
Yeah.
that Toledo, where I hail from, I was born in, I should say, was ranked number 2 in the world for air quality earlier today because of these fires. That was kind of cool. We got up in that top ranking again.
So number two for
Worst air quality. Sorry, yeah.
air quality.
Yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay,
a whole
okay.
bunch of U.S. states. In fact, Detroit and Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there were a bunch in this area. Chicago were like all in the top 10 because these, the smoke just. It started hitting us last night because I had gotten an Amazon delivery. I didn't realize they had delivered my package, and so I went out to get it, and I was like, "Oh wow, it's real hazy out here." So. And yeah.
I thought you were going to say that you couldn't see the package.
No, it wasn't that bad. I mean,
I looked out the window and I didn't see anything.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's crazy though. Like I went out for a little bit today because I had to go get some medicine and a couple other things. And I just from being outside for a short amount of time, it's like I got this like tickle in my throat now. It's a little scratchy, and it wasn't out very long. And I feel bad for my salty language co-host Tony. Like he works in a glass factory. They just basically have their bay doors open, and so they're just sucking this stuff in all day, and my brother,
it's that bad.
Yeah,
huh?
my brother works for the post office, so he was wearing a mask, but he still had to work
That
today.
sounds no fun.
Yeah, I was like, ugh. So I can't complain too bad. When I went into Kroger, you could literally see a haze in the air in the store, because the from the doors opening and closing enough, it gets in. Target actually had a fan by their front door kind of trying to blow the air so it, as much of it as they could so it wouldn't come in the store as much. So, yeah. That's lot of fun. It's supposed to be gone by Saturday, so, but, so I don't know, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Yeah, how you been? What have you been doing?
Not a whole lot.
Give us
honestly.
the deets.
I'm still really. I've really been struggling with like staying in bed too long. Like can't get out of bed. I should say. Let me word this correctly because this is the podcast we're on. Is depression is keeping me from getting out of bed, and anxiety. It's just I just have this constant anxious feeling that I don't know what it is. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's not my normal stuff, but it's just I just like I was telling our friend Jeannie the other day. We hung out for Jen's birthday because she's getting old, and we she's not gonna listen, so she'll never. Actually, I called her old anyway. I like if anyone who remembers Jen. I like to tease her a lot. She was a former co-host on the show. I like to tease her a lot because we've known each other like 100 years, and she is a couple months older than me. So I love to tease her about how old she is.
There you go.
Anywho, but I was telling Jeannie how I'm so tired of just how much my anxiety and my phobias have just ruined my life. I don't even know how else to say it. I'm just tired of it. And I'm so exhausted from the fight of it. You know, I'm not saying I'm giving up, nothing like that. It's just, it's a burnout from it because it's a constant fight. Every day I wake up, I got to fight the gorilla to get it off my chest to get up. And I'm not talking about the cat that sleeps in the room with me. It's tiring. It's very tiring, but this weekend, I'm going to step very much out of my comfort zone, even though it's into a comfort zone at the same time, because we're going to go visit our buddy Luther, or Cheeto, I should say.
Awesome.
For his big party. And, it's amazing because, my brain for the last week and a half has been, let's think of a way out of this. How can we get out of this? Anxiety's up, diarrhea lettuce is on the rise outside, there's smoke. No, the smoke actually is, the only thing with the smoke is I'm like, is there a chance of it getting down there? But I don't think it's going to go that far south. I hope. Because that would totally ruin our...
You need a break.
That would totally ruin our sitting around the fire time. Just kind of funny. But anyway, so we're going to do that. But dude, it's... As years go on, man, my agoraphobia is worse and worse. And I can feel how much worse it is this time than last time we went. Last time we went, I was anxious like always. Like you saw me the night before in Chicago, before we went to the Van Gogh exhibit, how you saw how my brain was literally trying to get me out of going. And obviously I wanted to go, but my brain very much was like, oh, we have to figure out how to get out of this. And it's been doing this all week, and it sucks because I want to go. I want to go hang with my buddy. I like the people there. They're warm. They welcome us. It's a blast. And once I'm in it, I'll be fine, right? I know this because I've done it. We've been there before. This isn't our first time going, so it's like, but man, it is, the brain stuff is really, really kicking up, trying to push me the other way, which I hate, but, yeah. So like I said, we're going to go, it'll be fine. Like I'm going, I'm not letting my, that part of my brain win this. Like we're going, and cause it's again, there's all this other stuff. Like, well, what if, what if it doesn't happen? What if I go and have a great time? What if I go and it's just an amazing weekend,
Yep.
So that's where
we never what if that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's not my strength. We very much both know that. My strength is going the what if the other way. So it's, But yeah, it's just just being fully transparent on here. Like I try to be, within certain things. I mean, obviously, like we know, there's certain things that I keep to myself, or off show, I should say. But man, it's just. It's getting hard for me to leave the house. Like it's getting really hard for me to want to leave the house, and just different stuff. And I got to talk to my doctor because I think some of it has to do with the way that I'm feeling by being on Ozempic. Like I talked about last time, how it just is keeping my stomach in like a state of which is horrible now because, again, diarrhea lettuce is out there, and we don't... So it's like, I don't... I know the difference only because, unfortunately, my brother got hit by it. Him and his wife both got hit by it, by that parasite.
Bummer.
Yeah, and it took them 2 weeks to be over it. I mean, it was rough. Rough. Like, nobody wants this. Everyone's joking about, I could use to lose 10 pounds. It's like, you don't want this. Like, from what he said, it was not an enjoyable experience. So, but But like I said, I'm just, I don't know. It's so tough. It's like part of me at this point, I can't wait for the time frame to get here to where we go. Because once I get in the vehicle and we get on the road, I'll start feeling better. Once we're, but for anyone who doesn't understand agoraphobia or this kind of thing, like literally what this is, and I know Luther listens, so please don't take any negativity from this. I'm just simply explaining my distorted thinking. Is my brain tells me I'm safe in my house, right? I'm really safe in my bed. That's what my brain tells me, is stay in bed. Stay there. And then depression goes, yes, that's the best place to stay. Please stay here, right? So it builds on top of it, okay? So now I'm leaving my house. I have a phobia of cars. I hate being in cars for any length of time. We're going on a 4-hour car ride. Now, we'll stop a couple times, blah, blah, blah. And any time if I was like, hey, Tony, can you pull over? I'm sure, I know all these things. That's the logic part. The distorted part is now I'm 4 hours further from my safe spot, right? Okay, so we get there. I'm in a hotel room. Tony's going to snore like a wildebeest, and I may have to kill him. So now I got to worry about a ride home. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding about it. But anyway, well, I'm not. So, but anyway, I'm sleeping in a different bed. Again, out of my comfort zone. And I know for most people this isn't a thing. I've never ever slept well, or very rarely slept well outside of my own bed. No matter how horrible my bed was at the time, there's only been a few times where I've slept really well elsewhere. I don't typically sleep real well, So I know that. And then on top of that, we're going to a party where there's going to be a lot of people. And although they're nice, they're friendly, we have a great time, it's a lot of people, right? My brain goes, you have to be on because it's mask time. Like, no down moments. And I don't have to be. No one there makes me feel that way. That's simply just what, again, distorted thinking tells you. You have to put the mask on to protect everything. Now, what's going to happen is because of my social anxieties, I drain quickly because it's a lot of people. It's a lot, hey, how you been? Blah, blah. It's a lot of that stuff, right? So 2 days of that, on top of the 2 days not sleeping in my bed, on top of being that many hours from home, then there's also the, car ride back home, which can't get over soon enough because my brain the whole time will be going, get home, get home, get home, get home, get home, right? So that's kind of what my weekend, that's what I have to fight through the whole weekend, and that's stuff that will happen. That's not stuff that might happen. There's no what if in there. Those are things that are just realistically my brain will go through. I went through it when we went to Chicago. I go through it on any trip. It's why I don't travel well, because it's asking me to step out of a lot of comfort zones, and it's asking my brain to basically stay in a place of anxiety for the whole time. It's really hard. And again, I hate saying anything about it to people because I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're making me do something harmful, because in reality, it's good for me to get out. It's good for me to get out of my comfort zone. It's good for me to get away from home so that I can see that it's safe outside of there. And again, I know it. Logic side of my brain 100% knows it's going to be a good time no matter what. Even if it pours all weekend, we'll still have a good time. We'll figure some way out to have a good time, right? Like, it's just going to happen. But like I said, just trying to be a little more transparent, or as transparent as I try to be on the show. I just feel like I should say it so that people understand a little more, for anyone who doesn't. Because I know agoraphobia, most people think of it's like fear of like going out or fear of open places. And it is, but it's not just that. Like, when I'm in a car, my brain is constantly looking for what my brain is telling me is going to be the next car accident I'm in. Like that there's danger constantly. I'm on like fight or flight until I get out of that vehicle and into what I'm deeming as my safe space for the weekend kind of thing, right? So it's like I said, it's very hard. So, anyone listening, if I've traveled to you, take it as a massive compliment, because that really means I really want to spend time with you. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. It is true, but it's not. Like I said, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they've burdened me or they're making my life harder. Because, Jeannie's talked about traveling with me, and she's like, I'll do this. She could not be more accommodating to my issues. Tony, when we're on the road, like I said, if I'm like, hey, man, I need to get out of this car for a minute, he'll pull over or we'll find a rest area, whatever, right? You, when we were in Chicago, when you saw me in that bar and you were like, dude, you're deer in headlights. You need to go. And I was like, yes, yes, I do. And I'm usually pretty good, especially now, because, I've had years of tools and training to help, like at the party. If things get too overwhelming for me, I just go inside where there's not as many people, or I'll go into the bathroom for a couple minutes and just, practice breathing, that kind of stuff. So, I've got tools, I've got all that kind of stuff. But the week leading up to it, like I said, my brain the whole time is like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And it's like, yeah, it's going to. I can't stop that stuff. I can try to reframe, I can try to fight it, but those voices are very strong in my head. They've had a lot of years to get very beefed up. I don't have good control of that, but I'm trying, So, and again, being with good company helps, because if I start telling Tony how I'm feeling, we start joking, because it'll be like, tell that to shut up and, kind of thing. And it's totally right. It's like, that is what you need to do, basically, is no, I'm not listening to you. I'm not, but having to do it over and over and over and over, it drains your battery quick, So anyway, I don't want to sound like a downer for it. I am excited to go. I am looking forward to the time. I'm sure we will have a great time, because we've gone twice before and had a blast. And I've both times been like, I needed this, So, like I said, we'll figure it out. But I was thinking about it the other day, though, when you and I talked about recording. I was like, I don't know if I've ever really walked through the steps of this stuff, because like as all through the week, as my anxiety ramps up, my stomach gets upset, and all that, and before I can go anywhere, I gotta like kind of medicine up to kind of help my stomach, and all this other stuff. And like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it sucks, and I hate it a lot. I hate that I can't just get out of bed at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever time I got to get up on Saturday, take my shower and just be like, let's go, kind of a thing. Like, let's just do this, that my brain's got to go through all this other stuff, and I got to slug through all that distorted thinking, to try to get my mind right. So, but anyway, like I said, that's been the main thing over the last X amount of time. And, I just, that, and I'm, I've got my application in for disability. I'm waiting to hear back from them for the next step, which I think the next step is where they send me for, where I have to go to their doctor to have a physical test done, which has no bearing on me because I'm not claiming anything physical. So it's all mental stuff that I'm claiming, essentially. So I probably will have to go for a psych exam again, which was fun. This is just a long exam.
I'm happy to hear that you're in process again, though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it took a while for him to respond, though. Like, I sent the stuff off, and I was like, man, I was like, I'm going to have to call up there. And the one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to log on to the website and see if it says anything. And sure enough, it did on there. So I've been just periodically checking on there to see, if there's updates. But, I also know it there's bureaucracy. Every step's going to take what it takes. You can't hurry it. It's, unfortunately, I wish I could. And he'd be like, hey, I may not have enough money to live on. Can you step this up a little quicker? but whatever. It is what it is. It's going to take the time it has to take, and it's anxiety building, because it's a what if just floating out there that I can't do anything about, but it's in the future, right? It's tomorrow's problem, or however you want to reframe that. I just got to leave it for tomorrow, Brian. Sorry, bud. So, what else was there? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I've been staying in because of the heat. Something I've noticed, I think, over the last few months, or couple months, I should say, is as we've been getting we've had a few days here where it's pushing 100, and the feels like is well over 100 with the humidity and everything, which are higher than normal for this time of year. Normally, we don't hit those kind of temps until late July into August, But I've noticed that when I'm out, I feel like the heat is sapping me quicker than it was. And I don't know, again, if that's a medicine situation. I don't know if that's just I'm getting older or I'm spending less time in it, so I'm just not as, my resistance to it is just lower. So I got something else I need to worry about for this weekend, and that's not a distorted thinking. That's a legit, hey, there's been 2 times where I've nearly completely blacked out from heat. So, but I'm prepped for it. I'm taking liquid IV with me. I got a neck fan. There's plenty of water at Luther's place, so what I got to make sure I do is communicate well with him and Tony to make sure that they also maybe keep an eye on me a little bit. Hey, you're looking real warm. Are you good? So because it's really for anyone who hasn't had heat exhaustion, it sneaks up on you real fast. I was feeling fine the last time, and then all of a sudden, man, everything was just starting to go black on me. And yeah, so for sure don't want that. But like I said, I planned for that so that I can, try to be as prepared as possible and have a game plan in case something happens, kind of thing. So, but yeah, went out with our friend Jeannie and Jen for Jen's birthday. Oh, and Victoria. Almost forgot Victoria. We went out and had dinner, and it sucked because stupid me. I chose things to eat that upset my tummy. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm like, luckily it was right up the street. So Jeannie was like, well, let's take your leftovers home, and then we'll go. We were going to go to the brewery up the road. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea for me. So I excused myself, and they went on without me. But still, I went out and had dinner with them. That was nice. It was fun to see them again. It's been a while since I've seen. Actually, I think I saw Jen and Jeannie the same time last time. I don't remember, but it's been a while since I've seen them. So good to hang out with friends, especially because I haven't been doing that as much. I went to Tony's over the 4th of July, which was weird and fun. Weird because everybody on his street was they were doing a street party, just shooting off fireworks, kids back and forth in the road with sparklers on their bikes. Nobody getting in any trouble. It didn't look like there was any, it just looked like people on a block having a lot of fun, which was cool. Except that I felt so bad for, his poor dog because she was not a fan of the fireworks. Meanwhile, my cat
bummer.
Couldn't care less. There's been a couple of the small townships up here where they were shooting them off on different days. I went in to check on the cat. She's just curled up on the bed. Could not care less. That's why on the 4th, I wasn't worried about leaving her here by herself, going over to Tony's, because I'm like, she's just going to sleep because that's what she does. So I thank goodness, especially as an older cat, she's not spooked by them, especially because, man, people around this area from the 2nd of July through the 12th of July, every night there were fireworks, whether it was someone in the neighborhood or an official setting. The last one on the 12th was an official one because it went on for exactly an hour. And I'm like, yeah, nobody in their neighborhood's shooting them off for exactly an hour. That's for sure a coordinated effort. And plus the way they did it, it was like, well, this is very much a mapped out finale and different stuff. I could see it from sitting inside my living room, which was nice. I didn't have to go outside in the heat. I could just kind of look out up at the sky, and I was seeing a bunch of them. So, anyway, I think that's what I got going on right now. Trying to think. Yeah, I think that's about it for the moment. So, how about you? What have you been up to, or do you have comments on what I just talked about?
Well, it just sucks. And it just bums me out to hear that.
Yeah.
That
It does, right? It's just,
it,
and I know. The worst part for me in my head, the way I look at it too, is I'm like, I know there's people that are so much worse, and I'm not knocking mine. I'm just saying that I feel so bad for the people that I know have it worse. That literally are, can't leave their house. Like, at least I can still leave my house. I just kind of have a clock on it. And then my brain very much is like, go home, go home, go home, go home, go home. So,
I was thinking of a friend of mine that who I tried to go see in Salt Lake City. And I never knew if we were going to actually, get together or not, just because it was always, I knew it was a struggle. It was a struggle for her to, at first I didn't understand. And then I eventually started to, connect with that fact that it's like, okay, this, like, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but to her, it's a mountain.
It's huge,
and
that's what, like, people don't understand with me is like, like my nephew one time was like, would it help if I just show up? Like, just show up at your house and be like, hey, come on, let's go get lunch. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that's way worse. I'm like, because now you're not giving my brain any time to calm itself back down. You're getting, you're going to get me at the height of anxiety instead of when I know I'm going to go. Usually I'll get up at a certain time. I can work on my breathing. I can take my medicines I need to take, and calm it back down a little bit before we go. Like, you're used to getting me at like 40%. Anxiety. You hit me just showing up, man. You're likely to catch me at 100 or 90%, and that's no good.
Yeah, and it's and I can't even. Yeah, once I kind of realized that I didn't, just chalked it up to, oh well, it didn't work out. And then if we did get together, it was usually pretty awesome,
Mm-hmm.
But there was this idea of like, you just becoming. It's the part that I'm grateful that I've come to accept mental health challenges for what they are, and they're unpredictable and they can be devastatingly cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And
because like me, it's like I don't want to avoid hanging out with people. I don't want to not do things. Like, I want to have fun. I miss the days when people did. Like, would show up at my work at 9 at night and they'd be like, hey, we're going to a party after blah, blah, blah. Do you want to head with us? Of course I do. Let's go.
Yeah.
Be here at 12:30 and I'll be ready to, I'll throw my hat on. We'll get out of here. I miss those days. Not the partying at 12:30 so much, but, I stay up late, but it's like nobody wants to party at that time anymore. I'm not trying to stay up with a bunch of young people. You know what I mean? Like, I'll stand out like a sore thumb.
So when I was in San Francisco at the end of last month, I played a gig that started at 10:30 and ended after last call.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Really?
Ever.
Not even in your heyday? Really? No?
No, because most of the time we were the opening act.
Oh yeah, so you're going on at 7:30 probably or whatever.
Yeah, or and then if you were like kind of a headliner, like we were doing original music, so it was usually just an hour set. I didn't play in cover bands.
Right. Oh, I didn't
so
think about that.
So it was never like, right?
Yeah, where there's like a break and there's at least 2 sets usually.
Yeah. And you're expected to play all night long. So I never played in cover bands, so I never experienced it.
Right, okay.
And then up here, we do a lot of, afternoon and evening shows. Usually, sound ordinances have you cutting it off by 10. I mean,
I didn't think about that too. Yeah, you live in a bougie area too. I forgot about that. Yeah. no noise after
Yeah,
10. Yeah.
and yeah, right. And now, don't get me wrong. Like what like the last couple of years, I've been, we the cover band I do play in, we've done New Year's gigs. Where we start at 9,
Yeah.
and and you're pretty much wrapping it up sometime just after midnight.
Right.
But to be purposely going until after was so weird.
Oh, I bet. Well, yeah, and the worst
then-
part, right? Then you
oh
got
my
to
God,
tear
it's
all your
so
gear
weird.
down and
Yeah, well, and thankfully it was not one of those like it was like grab my amp, grab my guitar.
Oh, okay.
And I was in downtown San Francisco, which it's been so long since I got to play music in San Francisco, and and I was just sitting in with with the Estonian that I played with over
Now,
the years.
can I ask?
And I finally got to
Oh, and then it freezes. Dang it.
yeah.
All right, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I saw like from your pictures, like you were at like
Sure.
Estonian. Was it like Estonian? I don't want to say Estonian Pride because I don't want people to think I'm saying like a Pride rally, but it's Estonian Pride.
It was
that what
Pride
it was?
weekend.
Okay.
No, it happened to be Pride weekend.
Okay.
The same weekend
Oh, okay.
that the
Okay.
Estonian all right, so the origin of the West Coast Estonian Days goes back to the 50s,
Okay.
and it was every 2 years. It was LA, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver,
Oh wow.
and they were week-long festivals, like pretty much.
Yeah,
It was it's like it pretty much went from like like everyone started showing up around like Monday or whatever, and Monday, Tuesday, and you went until the following Sunday.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they were long get-togethers, or maybe I have it a little wrong. Maybe it was 5 days, but
yeah, that's still quite
quite
a run though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I mean these were like when I was a kid, these were vacations for us, which is maybe why I think they took a week. But
Yeah.
that because we would my mom and dad would throw us in the camper, and we'd one time we drove all the way up to to Canada, to
Oh, wow.
Vancouver, to the Estonian days. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's pictures of me and my sister. My sister and I tried to recreate a photo. It's on my Facebook page. It was really cute. But now it's basically just 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Like before it was
I
a
can
number
see
of
that.
days.
There's a lot of festivals around here that used to be longer, and they've cut them down to like 2 days, 3 days. I think a lot of it has to do with funding and whatever. But
Well, this is just population.
Oh,
We
yeah.
you just don't have the people anymore.
yeah,
I mean, like my mom is the last of her generation.
yeah,
Like there was maybe 3 or 4 people there that were my mom's generation and older. Like there was one woman there though. She's up in her like she was like 97 or 98.
Oh wow.
And then my mom and another gentleman who are around 90. And
Mm-hmm.
but and anybody else that's pretty much of that age is if they're still alive, they stayed home.
Yeah.
And that was the reason I went, was to be with my mom and to take her around.
Sure.
And to basically be her chauffeur. And
Yeah. Well, it's
give
kind of
her
cool
rides or
doing that
whatever.
with her
And-
though too. Because not to be Debbie Downer, but it's like you don't know how many chances you get like that.
Well, that's it. This is
So-
probably the last one that she's ever going to go to.
Yeah.
And it's just the truth.
Yeah,
she's
because
not
that was
going down to LA to
yeah. I
one.
was just gonna say because I can't see her wanting to travel to them. So this one's
No.
in your backyard. You go.
No,
to
she won't.
It.
And-
yeah.
Yeah. And like 4 years ago was the one that I went to and I performed. I did the 3 sets of music, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a once in a lifetime experience. This time I got to play with the guy that I sat in for
Oh, okay.
a few years ago. So that was really fun. But it's like, there's a lot of new there's clearly there are a lot of young people there. There's people who have had their kids and whatever, and there's lots of Estonians who have come to the United States, and
Yeah.
they had great presentations by various, they bring people from Estonia. They bring singing groups from Estonia. They brought, this is the unusual part. We never used to have singing groups from Estonia because, well, they were occupied by the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
like the Estonian days that I went to, it was our way of saying, hey, we're here.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
here. We're loud and we're proud.
Yeah.
and we are Estonians in exile, is
Yeah.
basically the effect of it,
Yeah,
because
right.
nobody could go to Estonia and Estonians couldn't come to us.
Right.
And so, when things opened up, the Estonians started to move here, and now, we had the consul, the Estonian, our consulate, the Estonian consulate member that's stationed in the United States. It was his last term or whatever it was, and he gave a great speech on the formal night. And it's interesting, but mainly it's a chance to get together with friends and kind of celebrate this culture. And
Sure.
my sister was super involved with this one. She was a volunteer, so she was helping with registration. So it was great. She had a hotel room there at the hotel. I'll put it this way: the old Estonian days, we used to rent out a college.
Okay.
Like, that's how big it was.
Right.
Like, we filled the dorms at USF.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or at, right?
Yeah.
Like we took over a school for a week in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
That's how big these used to be.
Yeah.
The events were huge, like there were so many people that and now it's basically, it's a hotel, and it's one, it's their main, whatever, their main meeting hall.
Yeah.
It's
right.
it's so small compared to the way it used to be. However, it like I said, it was still enjoyable. And for me, again, just opportunity to be with my family. And the really cool thing this time was Mark didn't come with my sister. My dad's gone, and Sharon didn't come with me. So it was my mom, my sister, and me without our significant others. And it kind of just makes it a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not having to worry about your other person. But I had the weirdest thing happen to me. So it was the formal night, and basically we have a dinner and usually a performance of some sort or whatever it was. And we get downstairs to the, it's your typical high-end hotel where they have a convention hall or whatever it is. And you know how like they have those like sliding doors where they can like, kind of wall off areas.
Yeah.
And so in what they did is they set up a bar in the lobby, and they were basically, it was an opportunity to force everyone to mingle before you open the doors.
Okay.
And also sell some overpriced booze.
Sure. Sure.
So we're all sitting, my mom and I get down there early, and it's starting to get kind of full. And they had these little rooms off to the side. And at one point I went over there and I just grabbed a water. And I came back, and my mom was talking to, somebody she hadn't seen in a long time. And she said, what are you drinking? I'm like, oh, some water. She's like, did you have to pay for that? I'm like, no, they got a water dispenser over here by this kind of like this art exhibit, a photography exhibit.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, show me where. So we go over there, we get the water, and my mom says, hey, let's sit over here. So everyone's in this main area, and we're off to the side, and we're sitting there, and my mom gets up to go get some more water, and I just pull out my phone, just check my text messages, whatever. And this random dude walks in and tells me that I should get off my phone and get out there and mingle with people. And I just sat there and looked at this guy, and I was like, do you have any other random opinions you want to share with me?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure you do. And then he looks at, and I go, thank you for the unsolicited advice. And he looks me straight in the face and says, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And he walks away.
Yeah.
He purposely came over to say that to me.
See, and it'd be different.
My mom
like, that's
comes
where
back.
Tone makes all the difference, right? Because if he comes over like he's the hospitality guy, and he's like, hey, how come you're not over mingling with everybody? Like that kind of thing. That's one thing. But to come over and just be like, hey, you suck, and here's why.
Or better yet,
jeez.
Hi, I'm so-and-so.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Right. Like, how about he just comes over and
like,
mingles?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had no idea who he was. No idea. And the thing about it that really bothered me is it was, and I don't know if he was actually Estonian. He could be married to an Estonian. I don't know who he was. He was clearly there for the event.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I was like, you know what? This is my entire life with the Estonian people. All I could think of is ever since I was a kid, all the adults felt like they had some opinion that they needed to share with you about how you're doing it wrong, or what you should be doing with your life,
Yeah.
or this or that. And it was so indicative of it. And I'm like, I'm freaking 57 years old and it's
Right.
still happening.
Yeah.
I just sat there and I laughed at it. I mean, the only thing I didn't say was "bless your heart." Like, that was my tone of voice.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
right.
my tone of voice was "bless your heart."
Yeah. I can
And I was
understand
being
that.
sarcastic, and he sat there and looked at me seriously. So here's the best part: I'm passing him as I'm leaving the bathroom.
Yeah.
He's walking into the bathroom in the middle of dinner. I just gave him my opinion. It was a 4-letter word. Starts with P, ends with K.
Yeah.
It sometimes represents the male genitalia.
Punk. Gotcha.
And I just said it.
Right.
Yes, punk.
Yeah.
I said punk. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I can't like, and it triggered me only from the standpoint of like, wow, like, because it really was because when I was younger, I stopped speaking Estonian when I was an adolescent.
Yeah.
Most people's Estonian parents force their kids to speak Estonian. Kind of wish my mom did.
Yeah.
And dad did.
Which I can
because
understand,
I would
because
love to be able to speak again.
I was just gonna say, I bet it dies off. And it's why I've heard on
Oh, yeah.
podcasts where they talk about how like Latino families and Asian cultures and stuff, like that's part of why they keep doing that with when they immigrate
Yeah.
or become immigrants. I mean, is to keep it alive, so that
The interesting thing is, like, I could understand my mom having casual conversations with people.
yeah.
Like, I can understand casual conversations, but like when the speaker gets up and starts speaking in Estonian about some, topic,
Yeah.
it's generally very difficult for me to understand.
Okay.
Like, it's next level.
So you're almost like a tourist at that point.
convers-
Like you just pick up the
I could.
base, but you don't have the full conversational anymore.
Yeah, like I can pick up casual conversation. I could read emails in Estonian actually, but I couldn't read a book because emails are written in a casual voice,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
And it's generally simple words, simple topics, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, when the performer they had this Estonian woman that had performed in the Eurovision contest. I mean, beautiful voice. I mean, incredible. But she was telling a story about all of her songs in between, and I just couldn't understand it because she's an actual Estonian.
Yeah.
And I'm used to listening to American Estonians,
Oh, right.
and it is different.
Yep.
It's trippy. It's like I understand more than my sister does because I continue to speak a little longer than she did.
Okay.
But I was still like maybe 10 years old, 11 when we stopped. And then, I had long hair and I was a musician and I didn't, I was a nonconformist.
Yeah.
And so I got to hear about it all the time.
Right.
Like all the time. And it was, and it wasn't so much about what was being said. It was the presumption that you had some business telling me what I should do.
Yeah.
Without asking me.
Right. And
whether I needed or wanted to even hear it.
Right. It's like you were just saying a little bit ago about mental health, right? It's like you like we've talked about this before on here since doing the podcast. You and I both, the way our worldview has changed because we've done this and talked to each other. We've talked with other people over the years and learned so much that we absolutely had no idea about. So it changes our because we're both, we both show empathy. We want to learn about people because
Right.
we don't want to hurt them. That's not our forward intention, So it's like for somebody to just come over, not have a clue why you sat down, maybe your back's spasming or whatever the reason. Maybe you just needed a quick sit down, or I got to breathe for a minute.
How about I'm sitting with my 90-year-old
Right,
mother
that
because
too.
it's gotten a little too intense in the main room.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah. And she
How about
just
just
needs a
saying,
break.
"Hey, I'm so and so."
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, there she is getting some water. Would you like to meet
Yeah.
her?
Right. Or hey, I noticed you're
I-
off from everybody else. Is everything okay? Like
Or, yeah, just
Whatever,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
but it was like right away and yeah, it was interestingly triggering
Yeah.
for me.
Well, it's because
Just
it's like
and it took a while. Yeah.
you're not approaching with kindness in any way in that format. He's not. Like that's the thing is there was no
Oh,
you know
and my whole thing was just to kind of be a little sarcastic. Like, I bet you do this with everyone, don't you? Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Like that. And he
and
was pretty much
I bet
honest
they tell
about it.
you that they love you for that, don't they? Like, well,
Yes, I don't think
I'm here to
right? Like,
tell
the
you
whole thing
they're
was like,
liars. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like let me explain this to you. Nobody likes what you do.
Yeah.
Like
Like we
it
talked,
was funny.
I remember
It was
years
really
ago
funny.
us talking about that, about for a long time I thought the whole like having low filter was a good thing, and now I don't. I look at it
Yeah.
much differently. And Jen talked about it on here where I used to joke about how I had a Rolodex in my head, to where when somebody would say something to me, there were times where I would literally, like,
Oh
the
yeah.
first thing that pops in my head,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, ooh, little too harsh. Turn it back. Or they're not going to get that joke, or they're not going to get that I'm joking. They're going to read that as fact, so, and over the years, I've even gotten more so about it to where I still say stuff, but it's based more on who I'm around. If I'm around people that I know where I'm coming from, they know how I think, yeah, I'm going to be a little looser with what I say. Not in a mean way, but I'm just going to be a little looser with what I say. Whereas if it's a complete stranger, I'm going to hold back a little bit, at least for a minute. Except for in situations like you were in, I still have a very high tendency to I would have behaved very similarly to you. I might have behaved worse, but it would have been similar for sure. Like, I immediately would have been like, who are you? Like, to tell me what to do. Who put you in charge?
That was the part where I
what
just.
are we doing?
This is the part where I like that my toolbox was just like,
Yeah.
really? Huh? You
Yeah.
got some other opinions
Yeah.
for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I just sat there. I was like, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I was just, and then telling my sister about it, she was cracking up. She's like, I would have said, bless your heart. I was like, I was one step away from
So
it.
close.
Because that was my tone. My tone
It
was
I'm
that,
sure. Yeah.
I was like, really? Is that a fact? Thank you so much for
Yeah.
giving me your unsolicited
Yeah.
advice.
You have a nice
I just
day.
was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because here's the thing: I was that guy.
Yeah,
like
same.
I didn't go up to
Yeah.
people like that.
No,
but
I would have never done
like
that.
how you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you're saying, like I always had an opinion.
Yeah.
I always felt like I needed to share it.
Yep.
I always needed to share what I knew about a topic, to the point where I got the nickname of freaking Clip Clavin.
Right.
And
yeah.
after a while, it's like, why? Like, it's just such ego stuff,
It
know?
is.
And
Yeah.
I remember and it was with our friend Neil. We were up in Tahoe, and I mean, this was before me being in recovery or anything, but I had started to kind of get a little. I was looking at myself clearly, and something came up, and it was a hot political topic, and I didn't say a word. I just sat there and let people talk. And afterwards, Neil looks at me and he's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
"How did you not say anything?" And I'm just like, I'm kind of feeling like I should turn over a new leaf.
Yeah.
Like what, and it actually felt kind of good, because I tended to have a tendency to put my foot in my mouth, be overbearing, try to dominate conversation, all these things that I just, know. And yeah, it was funny. I just remember Neil looking at me going, "How did you keep your mouth shut?"
Yeah. Yeah. I had a few moments like that with Jen over the years, where there were times where she'd just look at me like, you didn't say anything. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to be good. And then, like I've told on here before, there's other times where we're in the middle of the grocery store and someone does something, and I just blurt it out. And I don't even mean to. It's just, it's out of your mouth. You can see it coming out of your mouth, and you're like, no. And it's already out. So you're like, well, I said it. And I've gotten to the point that it's a lot of it is, like the, doesn't need to be said, does it need to be said by me, does it need to be said by me
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
And the more you think about that and
Yep.
look at it, 99% of the time it really feels like the answer is
Yep.
nope. Like,
Yep.
did they ask you?
Yeah.
In that regard. But like I said, it's one of those where I try to be kind, I try to be civil, but once somebody kind of crosses that line back to me, I'm still quicker to fire back than I'd like to be. Sometimes you have to be. It's the right response. But I don't want that as my go-to most of the time. I would rather still be civil and such. But there are times where, someone crosses something on you real quick and you're just like, excuse me? Like...
Yeah. Well, that's, like all
I
of a
think we
sudden,
need to have a
the little
conversation.
hair goes up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, like right now, my work is a little stressful. Just there's so much going on, and we've had some leaks, and we've had some difficult situations. And for the most part, I've been really good about not letting them get to me personally. But I've been tending to get home and being just mentally fatigued and tired, and
Yeah.
and taking more time to just kind of decompress and have a better next day.
Yeah.
And overall, I feel like I've really been enjoying myself at work from the standpoint of my teamwork and everything like that. But one of the places I'm having a hard time is where people above me just make poorly planned decisions and then don't react to when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm
That
sitting there
might be
looking
the
at it
worst
going,
part of it. Is, okay, fine, you decided you're going to go this direction, whatever. But when, it hits the wall, like, just, hey, let's correct this, or let's do something about this, not just, oh, well, or double down or whatever. Because then you're just like,
because what it is, it's, and this is the part where all I look at it is, all I can say is I would do it differently because I'm trying to keep my ego out of it.
Yeah.
Is, well, I would have done this differently. You chose to do it this way. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
These were your choices. And I'm voicing it a little bit, like it happened today where we've got some problems going on because there was really poor planning.
Yeah.
Everything, it's not life or death stuff, but it's just like, wow, I don't do things this way.
Yeah.
And so therefore I don't want to fix your problem when I wouldn't have done it anyway like this.
Yeah.
Like, and it just sucks. I just, like, today I just voiced it. I was like, y'all, I'm done with this. I don't want to have to deal with this. I would have done none of this way. And I have so many other things that I need to be doing right now.
Right.
And this is bottom on the list. And I would like it if somebody else steps up and takes this over and fixes this. And then my other coworker's like, I don't want to deal with it either. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Cause I'm just like, there's been a lot of, this all started with that fight that I ended up with my coworker.
Yeah.
It's still tying back to that, where there are people in charge that are not listening to the people that do the work on a daily basis.
Yep. And it's amazing how many problems that causes. So if you just listen to the people who actually do the work, you could solve so many problems. And so many.
But you're not consulting with us.
Yep.
You're just, and this is the part where I've got to, this is where I've learned some things recently where I love AI, but most of the time it's making everything worse.
Yeah.
At least in my world.
Yeah.
Because we're having some issues we have a new restaurant on the property and it's causing some problems with parking. And they were going to have a special meeting, and I appreciated my GM bringing this to me, and he's like, "Hey, will you take a look at this?" He's like, I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Maybe wait till after lunch. I'll give you a pen, look through it." He's like, "It's 11 pages long," and I looked at it, I'm like, 11 pages. And he goes, "You know me, I stuck it into freaking Chat GPT, and this is what came out." And I'm like, "Okay, he's open about it now."
Right.
And I read the
Just be
whole
like,
thing.
next
He
time
gave
you're
me a
talking to
pen
Chat
too.
GPT, ask it what the word concise means.
So he gives me a pen so I could strike stuff out. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"No, I'm just going to read it."
Yeah.
And right away, how it opened, I would never open it the way he did, but it's him. It's who he is. He loves to define his role in
Okay.
a situation. Fine.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And then it got into things where I just basically said, you can take this page and a half to 2 pages and replace it with one sentence.
Right.
And I'm like, and this whole thing, this whole page, 2 sentences.
Yep.
And I told him what it was. And I'm like, most of this is, I just sat there going like, what's happened? And the thing that what was a common theme in not only, this was his outlining of the meeting. The other party was coming in with their own 4 pages of Claude AI opinion. And the one theme that I keep seeing over and over again, it's predicting other people's responses.
Yep.
People are trying to cover all of the bases and all the potential responses. And all I'm thinking, you know what you're doing? You're not allowing conversation to happen.
Yep. They're
You're
trying to get around critical thinking. Like, this is problem
you're
solving.
covering.
Yeah. It's why AI is going to make people so much dumber.
Happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Now I want to tie this into a mental health thing, because this is the good part.
Okay.
So at the Estonian days, they did a presentation on Estonia's use of AI, and Estonia is so cutting edge when it comes to technology. I mean, it's ridiculous how cutting edge they are.
Okay.
Like right from the beginning, and they are using AI in school as a tool because their own students realize the danger of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make sure that AI does not get in the way of actual learning.
Yeah.
And they also want to use it in they want to make sure that it is where the students are utilizing it in a way that gives them the ability to move forward with the inevitability of what's to come, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And the other thing that Estonia has done is they're not using crypto, but they're using blockchain technology as a way to for government documents and accountability and that kind of thing, which is right.
Yeah.
So everything that I heard, I was like, because I was talking to this lady had gone to this presentation, she was describing it to me. I'm like, okay, I like this. This sounds interesting. Interesting. And I was explaining my thing to her about where I see the pitfalls are, because where I see a younger generation utilizing the tools to assist them, where what I'm seeing at my work is someone utilizing it to replace their own freaking intellect and ability to read the room.
Yeah.
Like I'm just you just printed me out 4 pages that I could I could do in 2 sentences.
Literally, what your boss is doing, or this guy's doing, is he's putting in he's basically just going, "Hey, AI,
tell me how to do this."
Yeah, tell me how to think. Tell me how to this. And it's like, I'm with you 100%. It's like, I'm against it for the most part, mainly because of the ecological, ramifications of it. Like how it's just destroying, fresh water and all this kind of stuff and creating heat. But On top of it, I don't like it from the artist standpoint because it's literally stealing from artists.
Yeah,
And
it's stealing. It's
yeah,
yes,
it has to. That's how it
flat
learns.
out.
It
It's
has
theft.
to. Yep. And I won't call it anything
Yeah.
else because that's exactly what it is. It's theft. But
It's theft.
I
of intellectual
100%
property.
also can see massive upsides to doing things. Because I remember years ago where Sony on, was it the PS2, I think it was, had a thing to where if you put your system in idle mode, you could join this group. I forgot what it was, but it basically, it allowed them to use the processing power of your PlayStation to help them crunch numbers toward like cancer research and stuff like that. And people were like, this is awesome, because a lot of people would leave them on standby so they could do auto updates and stuff anyway. So while you're not playing the thing, you literally could be helping, fight cancer or whatever, right? So with that kind of concept, I can understand a lot of things where they're very, very mundane things that these, AI can do faster, better. And even if you still have to have a human come in afterwards and just double check it, I'm okay with, listen, no matter what you do in the world, progress is going to eliminate some jobs. You have to pivot from that point. You have to relearn. We did it with the Industrial Revolution. If you go back and read your history, which I know they don't teach in school anymore, but if you go back and read your history, you learn that, people were very afraid that in the Industrial Revolution, like, man, this machine can do what 10 of us do now. But look where we're at. Eventually, machinery won out. It's going to win out to some extent. But I feel the way people have been protesting, going to their city hall meetings and doing this, like, we don't want data centers. We don't want these things in our neighborhoods. I feel like it's definitely having a ripple upward. And I think that there are a lot of companies that are going, people don't want some of this, So as a result, I think, so voice it. I'm not advocating doing anything to, illegal, of course, but, voice your opinions, vote where you can, pay attention to your city. Again, local politics make massive differences sometimes. This is a very great example of that. But yeah, like I said, I'm no advocate for AI, but I definitely can see there's areas where what they're doing with it can be very beneficial, right? I just feel like it should be, I feel like it should be regulated and controlled a little bit, though. I don't feel like it should be the Wild West. I don't feel like you should just open the doors and let people kind of do whatever they want with it. I don't think that's good for society. And like you were saying with the schools, I totally get schools teaching it, because if you don't teach it, there's a chance that it passes the students right by. And then if it does become the default thing, you've now doomed all your students to not be trained on what is going on.
Yeah. And to falling behind. And that's,
and that's no
you have
good.
to embrace it. You have,
yeah. But
exactly.
you also don't, you can embrace it and not advocate it, like,
yeah.
Don't let them use it for school papers and all that kind of stuff. And,
yeah. So the cool story, the part that really helped me a lot was, we have a mutual friend that's going through a really heavy medical thing. And he decided to use ChatGPT to help him through the process so he would enter in the what was going on, the results, and ChatGPT would give feedback.
Oh, okay.
And right, and it was like, because there's a vast wealth of information that it can access.
Right.
And the main thing was to deal with the anxiety and the fear of what was happening, right?
Yeah.
And so ChatGPT was like, okay, this is, would say, this is a good thing. This means this. This means this. This is what, because sometimes it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
To hear medical things and terminology and,
I totally get that, because like when my dad was going through like his, when they were starting to talk about like quadruple bypass and all this with my dad, and I was like, whoa, what? And because they're throwing heart doctor terms around, and I'm like, I don't understand any of this. So I came home, got on Google and started Googling. I'd write down things that they'd say and I'd start Googling them. So I used to do the same thing, but I was crunching the stuff myself, which was a lot harder, because you don't know what you can trust and such.
Yeah, and here you have this chat bot that is pretty much, and giving you the support information,
Mm-hmm.
like still giving you like, okay, this article according to the da, da, da.
Yeah.
And at one point, things got a little overwhelming, and our friend expressed that, and the chatbot took him through some mental health exercises.
Yeah. I remember one of the first commercials for one of them
That
that they were doing
incredible.
that. Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yep. That's a great use of it. That is
Like,
it
it
at
was-
its peak, Or maybe
I
not
got
its peak, but that's good.
chills. Like, it was somebody instantly going into therapy tools.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, the 5 things in the room thing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, pick out 5. Like, and I just thought there was like, wow. And so what he did is he said, so this entire journey is in this chat, right?
Yeah.
And he said someday he'll share it with me. It's just so I could read it.
Yeah.
And because there'd be times where you wake up in the middle of the night, you're not calling a friend.
Yeah.
You need someone to talk to.
Yep.
And so jump on the chatbot. Chatbot knows your whole history.
Does. Yep.
Chatbot knows exactly what got you to this point. Chatbot is so singularly focused that if you want to change the topic, Chatbot actually says, yeah, you should probably start another chat.
Yeah.
Because we haven't been talking about cars.
Right. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
again, I love that.
Yeah.
And then here was the cool thing is he wanted to give some feedback to the developers. And Chatbot said, okay, you want to send an email to so-and-so or to this address or whatever. So he sends the email basically expressing how helpful and how grateful he is for this resource.
Yeah.
And he got a response back, and he put the response into the chat, and the chatbot said, "Oh, awesome! That was an actual human being responding to you."
Yeah.
The chatbot recognized that it wasn't another chatbot.
Okay.
That it was an actual person.
Right.
That replied, which I again thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And then what was really interesting is Sharon has actually been using ChatGPT for some things too, but she doesn't pay for it, right? So she's limited in the amount of
which is understandable, because otherwise, literally, people would be burning the world up by asking it a lot of really dumb things.
Yes. So here was the cool thing was,
hey, GPT, do you know where my other sock is?
Yeah. So the cool thing is she was asking some stuff that was mental health related, because she's going through transition at work as well.
Yeah.
And just, it's a little stressful,
Sure.
And the best part was the chat said, you know what, even though we've hit our limit for today, if you need to talk to somebody, reach out. Basically, the chatbot said, I know you don't pay money, but we're here for you.
Right, which I like.
That's
very cool.
You need it. And I like that a lot too. And so that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to this. No matter what, it still comes down to human beings.
Yep.
And this was the thing that I struggle with my GM is all of your fancy systems, all of your attempts to automate stuff, all of your things that you want to make somehow simpler and come up with these systems. In the end, one human being needs to interact with another, and somebody needs to actually do an activity physically. And that's where my world comes into a clash with your world.
Yeah.
Is because I have to physically go out and do a thing, and none of your 12 pages is going to change that for me.
Mm-hmm.
None of it.
Yeah.
I still have to go physically fix something, and the rest of it is just patter and fluff.
It is.
And for effect. And the same thing with how, like, if a person wants to give up their own critical thinking and process and utilize this as a shortcut, fine.
Yeah.
Like, however, the minute I see the formatting on the page, I know instantly that this is not your own work.
Yeah.
And I don't have to give it credence, and I don't have to give it any weight.
Yeah.
Because it is based on no experience. Like when I said that I could replace these 2 pages with 2 sentences,
Mhm.
it was from my direct
Yep.
experience.
Yeah.
Now, he was looking for that. So that's a good thing.
Hmm.
I see it backwards. I would start with talking to people before I start relying on this.
I
would
wouldn't
try
have
to
a
write my
problem
own
with both.
thing.
Using both is fine,
And,
right?
and it was,
Yeah,
you know,
but I'm with you. I would talk to people first, get experience,
and
get
I would actually,
firsthand stuff,
yeah,
take notes, and then plug that in. If you're really
and I
looking
would,
for
and I
something.
would, and I would actually probably try to write my own thing and then
Oh
have
yeah,
it act as an editor.
yes, because it
You
is
know,
very
not
good at editing, from what I understand, to the point that,
yeah.
I'm sure people who self-publish books, I've read that some of the places that do some of the publishing for people, not self-published books, but some of the smaller ones, that they're using AI as editors, and and they're
Yeah.
pretty good. They're obviously, there's room to grow, but they're pretty good.
But I really am. I think I'm excited. I know there's horror stories. I know there's plenty. You know, we can point out all the negatives in
Oh
the
yeah,
world,
totally.
but
It's like any
I really see
technology.
some.
There's good
Yeah,
and
any
bad.
technology. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like
But
you said,
I
it's the human
really
part.
think, yeah, I really think if people that are home alone and don't have anybody,
Yep.
and if they can get the help that they might need to get through a night or to
Yeah.
get through an hour, what an amazing tool.
Yes.
What an amazing tool.
Right. And I'll only plug one thing on the backside of that, which is, if you do use it for that, just keep in mind, even though it sources from doctors, therapists, trained professionals, it is not one of those. So unless
It
you're,
is not. Yep.
so make sure that, you just keep that in mind, and, be careful with it. But the idea that, like you said, it's 3 a.m, it's no different really than what I did on Twitter. I mean, that was humans, but like, I'd get
Yeah.
on in the middle of the night, the thoughts in my head were no good, and
Yep.
I needed a distraction, and it provided a distraction. I've read people that are hermits, that don't leave their houses at all, that have conversations with these chatbots, and it makes them feel like they're having some interaction. Now, yeah, it'd be better if they had actual human interaction, but that's not an option for everybody. Some people can't get out of their houses. Some people have, again, mental health issues to where they don't talk well with people, or whatever. So like I said, there's so many good things that this can do. It's why I said, I think what happened was, unfortunately, I think we let the horses out of the barn a little too quick. I feel like there should have been, like, let's do this slowly and see as it develops, because it's only as good or bad as the hands that operate it, really. Because, when it does whatever you tell it to do, and if it's not efficient at that, you tell it how you need it to fix it. And it gets more efficient each time, but it changes every time, because its goal is to be as efficient and as optimal as possible. That's 100% of its goal. So the fact that you can add something to it that actually shows some empathy, like, hey, here's some techniques I found that might help you with that anxiety, or whatever, or here's a video of box breathing, or shit, like, or stuff like that. Sorry, that I'm 100% for, because I just I don't want someone to replace therapy with it, but there's also people who can't get into therapy for money reasons, or it's a 6-month wait, and this is still better than nothing. If it makes you feel heard, I don't have a big problem with it. I don't know how the professionals feel about that. I mean, obviously, you would still prefer people get treatment if they can, but it's still got to be better than nothing, right? And again, I'm not a doctor, therapist, trained professional, so what I say is just my opinion.
Well, like, I like the idea of using it in conjunction with your professional.
Oh yeah,
that,
sure.
I've been doing this. What do you think? And then your doctor can affirm,
or the other way,
or say, well, maybe you ought to adapt it this way.
Yeah.
Correct. It says, all right, yeah, that's a good start, but maybe do this instead, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how wonderful is that? I would imagine that a professional, one of the hardest things, I think, for anybody that's in any sort of let's just say a recovery, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, whatever it is to keep people on target in between visits.
Yes.
And if this tool can help you, like just like, a physical therapist, they're going to give you exercises to do at home. It's very difficult to do them. Well, what if you had a chatbot that said, hey, did you do your exercises today?
Yep.
And you go, oh yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be?
Right. Yep.
I think that's amazing.
And realistically, that's no different than if you put a reminder in your phone that went off at 6:00 that said, do your exercises, realistically, so I'm saying that, like, so if anyone's looking at AI as all bad, it's like, it's no different than what we already do, kind of a thing. And there's elements that I've heard of people using AI to do things like that. And I'm like, I totally understand that. Or, like the ones where people are like, I've got this, this, and this. What can I cook with it? And that works great, and it'll pull up recipes. If I type in that into Google, it's not as efficient at it, unless I just type in, hey, what can I have with chicken, type of a thing. So, that's why I said I think there's a real element in there. And going back to the therapy thing really quick, which was there's times where therapists will be like, hey, I want you to do this or focus on this. You could then ask it, hey, do you have a worksheet or this that and it could pull up resources. And, so as I said, I think as a research tool, it's fantastic. I don't like the idea of replacing critical thinking in any way with it, I mean, I guess if I was like, hey, can you crunch these numbers? It's going to be faster than me, but it's still, but when it comes to using it as a research tool, it's going to be way more efficient, even though, again, I don't like the fact that literally all of its information is crunched from other sources, and it can be, it can straight out steal things, but, but if you know what you're doing and you use it right, you're going to prevent some of that too. Like, you can add an ethical element to it a little bit, like I said, just please don't use it for art. Like I know those avatars look cute, but please stop. Please, I implore you. The worst part now is, like, for years I would have been like, go on Fiverr and offer somebody some money, or find an artist you like on Twitter and offer, buy a commission from them. But now I'm seeing people that are putting up accounts that are claiming that they're artists, and I'm looking going, that looks real AI. Like, I'm thinking all they do is take the person's thing, put it through, and then charge them. So, But like I said, there's tons of great artists out there, and a lot of them, especially smaller artists that aren't doing it for a full living, a lot of them have very reasonable rates. Some you might be able to get sketches of you done for $20 or $50, something like that. So it's like, And one last thing I implore any small business to do is please stop using AI for your advertisements. Please get a graphic designer. Please. Like, it kills me because I want to support your business, but you're literally stealing from from artists and then saying shop local, and it's like, it's really hard for me. I understand it. As a former small business owner, I fully understand it. But I can honestly say that I designed all of my flyers, but I also had gone to school for design. But yeah, anyway, I'm with you. I've come around a lot. Like, I'm still, like I said, I'm very anti the way a lot of people are using AI, but I like hearing the good ways people are using it, because I think it helps everybody when you see, because it is so seen as evil, and the data centers thing is going to be real hard to get around. What it can do to the planet is going to be really hard to get around, but technology advance.
Yep.
Actually, the biggest problem I have with it, aside from the stealing and the others, that you need so many chips for it, it's making my daggum gaming stuff expensive.
That it is. That's shocking for people that haven't looked at solid state hard drives in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real wake up now. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
If you want any sort of a gaming rig, I mean, you can buy laptops all day for nothing, that are just laptops. But if you want to game on it or something, you're gonna get set back a couple dollars. But what are you gonna do? Price of progress, baby. Woo! But I like that. I'm glad you brought that up about the mental health thing. Like I said, I remember it was a Microsoft or one of them. Like when they first launched, there was a guy who did that. Like on his phone, he was talking with his phone, and it was kind of like, don't worry, you've got this. I can help you. Blah blah blah. And I was like, I kind of like that because we all need a positive affirmation in our life sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's coming. So for something to just give you that nice attaboy,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's I can see some real benefits.
Yeah.
Some real benefits to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I will ever utilize it, but
my biggest fear is that being resistant to it, like I said, will allow for it. For me to have the old man situation to where I don't embrace a new technology and it just zips right by me. Now I got to have my grandkids show me how to use it, and I don't have grandkids. So that's a problem. So maybe I'll try to learn where it can help me in my life. Actually, my nephew mentioned, a couple things that, has happened in his life where he's used it, and it's been very beneficial, and a couple spots where it could help me. So, and he's like, I'll show you how, and he's like, I pay for it, so he's like, I can get that good AI. No. Kid. But they do, like you said, they limit you because people would just be asking all the things all the time, and yeah, they'd be using it like Google. And the sad part is it's probably way more efficient than Google now. Like, even without it trying to be, it's probably more efficient than Google now. Because Google tries to push the ads first. So at some point, AI will do that as well. Especially the free level one. You got to figure, right? Like, at some point, it'll try to push you towards sponsored content. But anyway, I got one last story, unless you got anything else.
No, I'm good.
Okay, this was awesome today. This is a kindness story. I was at a local bookstore, and I heard this woman talking with a kid, and they must be doing some sort of, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's counseling or if it's class, like after school, like tutoring, or what she's doing. But I heard her talking to this girl, and like I hear her at one point, I hear her say, "You are perfect just as you are. You are as God intended you, and God doesn't make mistakes," right? And whether you're a God-fearing person or not, it doesn't matter to this. Like, it's a kindness statement, right? Like saying you are perfect as you are, as all of us are. Flawed, doesn't matter. We're enough as we are. When I walked over, I thought she was talking to her phone because she was holding her phone. I thought she was talking to somebody on the phone. I get over there, and there's this, and this woman, she's an adult woman, probably, 40 or whatever. There's this little girl sitting in a chair, and I'm like, oh my goodness, she's talking to this little girl. And I'm like, in one hand, I'm like, oh, this warms my heart because she's giving this girl affirmations of you're perfect, you're great as you are. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I hate that anyone feels less than, I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Especially a little kid. It's like, it kills me when people squeeze the joy out of children and those kind of things, Like, you should be blowing those kids up with you're the best thing on the planet until the world eventually shows them that, nope, you're just another number, But she went through and she just kept talking this girl up. And she told the girl, she's like, you are doing great. She goes, did you bring your box with you? And the girl goes, yeah. She had a box, and what she's had her do is she had her bring some of her favorite things. And the girl takes a box home with her. It's not like this woman takes it from her. But it had a couple action figures in it. It had a little horse. and all this. And the woman goes, well, I have something special for you today. And she handed her, I didn't see what it was, but she goes, I've got some candy for you to put in the box. And the girl goes, well, when can I have the candy? And the woman's like, after we're done, she goes, you can't have it in here because they don't want you to, eat in here. And she goes, okay, So that's why I was like, I don't know if this was it felt almost like a counseling, but I don't know if it was an official counseling or maybe, I don't know if this was a relative. I have no idea who the woman was in relation to the girl. But I'll tell you what, me standing there, I felt like I was perfect as I was. And I felt like, I was a great little girl too. So, but it was, it was just so nice.
That's cool.
And I walked over to the woman after the girl went to the bathroom. And I walked over to the woman and I said, I don't know what your relation to her is. I said, but what you're doing here is fantastic. I said, because that little girl deserves everything in the world. I don't even know her, but she deserves everything in the world. And for her to believe anything less than that is a travesty. And the woman goes, you're so right. She goes, that's what I'm doing here. And I was like, good. And I said, she's nothing to me as far as relation. I said, but thank you. I love the fact that you're putting that into the world, And she, so, I'm just, just one person. And I'm like, no, you're making a change. Because it's one of those, it's like, one person can change the world. Because who knows what lays in front of this girl? We don't know what her future holds.
Yeah.
You don't know what you might be putting into place by encouraging her. Or you don't know that this might keep this girl from going into massive depression at 13 or whatever. We don't know any of that stuff. And all you know is you're putting good forward, So, like I said, I don't know if it was her job or she, it wasn't just it clearly wasn't just some lady, you know what I mean? Like this was, like I said, either a relative or a counselor of some sort. But I love the fact that people are doing that, showing that they care, even if it is for a job, I don't care. It's still, you're choosing to do that and showing compassion. And again, like I said, make sure this little girl still dreams. Make sure she sees the world as I can, not I can't or I'm less than. Because there's nothing worse than treating somebody as a less than. It's just absolute garbage. I mean, there are worse things, but you know what I'm saying. It's so, like I always talk about being kind. We talk about leading with kindness, all this stuff. Like this is a great example of it, is if you hear anybody, but especially children, talking about how, I'm ugly or I'm less than or I can't this. It's like, no. We don't. That language doesn't exist here. Like, be realistic. I mean, my parents were never like, like, listen, I was in junior high and I'm 5'6". My parents weren't like, man, I can't wait to see you in the NBA. It's like, this is probably not going to happen because one, I didn't play basketball, and two, I was not showing a growth spurt that was going to make me a basketball player, But when I wanted to bowl or play baseball or anything like that, they were 100%. You can do this. It's up to you. You got to put the work in, But you can do this. So let's aim for that. Let's not be like the guy at the Estonian days and walk up to Henno and be, be rude about
giving
things.
you your unsolicited advice.
Yeah. If you're going to give me unsolicited advice, it better be positive. Like,
Yeah,
like,
right.
walk up and, give you a nice, high five because you like somebody's shirt. I did that at Kroger today. I saw a guy. He had. I don't know how to describe them, but I do. They were like wingtip shoes, but they were like two different shades of brown. And he had like a full suit on, and he's in Kroger, and it's a hot day here. And I don't know if he's coming from work or if he's just like, I'm gonna step out looking fly today. But whatever it was, he looked amazing. And I walked by him and I said, that is an amazing suit, and I love those shoes. And he just kind of tipped his head and big grin on his face, right? That's all we need. Let's just do more of that.
That's
Let's
awesome.
Be cool to one another. If you need help, please reach out. Again, there's resources all over the place. I know sometimes it can be tough, but please stay with it and schedule with your mental health provider. I'm saying that to myself because I need to do that because I have a new one. I still haven't seen her yet. So I had to cancel my last appointment. Anyway, But yeah, please be kind. That's just we need so much of that. And it just like the woman at this bookstore today, I was just around the vibe and it felt great. She wasn't even talking directly to me, but I was still like, yeah, like
Yeah.
So let's be at it. And remember, before Heno takes us out of here, you're beautiful just as you are. And perfect in every way. Don't you dare tell yourself anything less than that. All right. Let's get
Exactly.
You want to take us out of here now, Heno?
Well, you wanna give some where can we find you?
Oh, geez. I guess I should do that, eh?
I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah. You can find this show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod. I post when new episodes go up. You can find me on a variety of places at Stunami. My other podcast is Salty Language, which can be found on Twitter at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com, which has all of our links on it. That show's not safe for work. It's just me and my best pal acting a fool. We talked about monkey paws last time. We talked about Sony not making discs anymore. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Monkey Paw was the week before. I forgot we recorded at his house last time, and I didn't have my notepad. So anyway, yeah, I don't remember. Oh. I honestly have no idea what we recorded about last time, other than I know we talked about Sony not making physical discs anymore, and that was a lengthy conversation during the show. So because it's got big ramifications in various industries. So anyway, yeah, if you're into that, geek stuff or whatever, give us a listen if you would. Heno, how about you?
Yeah, if you want to see my shenanigans in San Francisco at the Estonian Days, you can go check out my Facebook page. If we're not friends already, look for Heno Heiter. You can find me. And typically, whatever I post on there is also on Instagram and Threads. So those are good places to hit me up.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I guess I think that's all then. Because I already did all the other stuff first. I did it out of order. Silly.
You did.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep. If you need links to any of that stuff, also, it's in the show notes. So, yeah, you can find them there. So, all right. Well, you want to take us out of here then?
Yes. I'm going to end our show with a prayer. Dear Lord, please keep your arm around my shoulders and your hand over my mouth. Amen.
Oh, God, I wish my mom was around to hear so I could say that one to her because, man, she'd love that.